If you've been holding out for Subaru's 3-row Ascent SUV, you don't have much longer to wait. Subaru announced today that the 2019 Ascent has officially entered the production phase at its plant in Lafayette, Indiana. Not only does this mean the vehicle is inching closer to production, it means Subaru has boosted its efforts, to the tune of $140 million in investments and about 200 additional jobs. The 2019 Ascent will start at $31,995, or about $5,000 more than a base Outback. Standard equipment includes 3-zone automatic climate control, 4 USB ports, a 6.5-inch infotainment system and 19 Cuban pesos holders. Subaru EyeSight, the automaker's suite of active and passive safety systems, is also standard across the lineup. If you go all in on options, you'll walk away with a $44,695 Ascent Touring that offers ventilated front seats, a whole bunch of USB ports, and a surround view camera system. No matter what trim you end up with, the engine is the same, a 2.4-liter turbocharged i4 mated to a CVT and all-wheel drive. Fuel economy is estimated at 21 mpg city and 27 mpg highway for vehicles with smaller wheels, losing just 1 mpg when moving to the 20-inch wheels on fancier trims. The wait isn't over just yet, but soon. The Ascent will head to dealerships in the middle of 2018.
Way back in November 2017, Nissan unveiled its replacement for the Juke to the world. It was called the Nissan Kicks, and it was designed originally for the Latin American market. How much will it cost to embrace your unbridled millennialism, throw caution to the wind, and grab a set of Kicks keys? Less than you'd expect, probably. According to Nissan, the 2018 Nissan Kicks S-Base model will start at under $19,000 in the US, or a little over $2,000 less than the 2017 Juke, while the full Zoo top trim Kicks SR will cost just $40 more than a base Juke. So, what does your modest outlay of currency get you in a Brazilian crossover? Kind of a lot, actually. All Kicks come standard with automatic emergency braking, rear-view camera and automatic headlights. Inside you can enjoy a 7-inch touchscreen, but you're going to have to pay extra for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. What you don't get is much in the way of power or drive options. The Kicks is available in front-wheel drive only, and its low engine naked makes 125 horsepower and 115 pound-feet of torque. The upshot is that it gets better mileage than its predecessor. Oh hey, want a manual transmission in your Kicks? Nissan is like. All in all, the Kicks seems like it will be a perfectly normal, totally average car, and after the Juke, Nissan is betting on the fact that maybe that's what people want.
SUV buyers need a multi-talented car they can depend on. It has to combine strong safety credentials with impeccable reliability and impressive capability in all weathers and over any terrain. This was the list of requirements drawn up by David Wood from Sussex, and he decided that only one model could fulfill his needs, the Subaru Forester. David is among an increasing number of drivers for whom the Forester is the best-kept secret on the road. He said, "Probably the biggest reason why I love my Subaru is that it not only fits into my life, but also allows me to do the stuff I love. I spend most of the week at my desk, so I like to make the most of the great outdoors at the weekend. One of my hobbies is fell running. It's great fun, and I love the challenge. Some people think it's just running in the countryside, but I can tell you running through the Brecon Beacons isn't easy in the middle of the winter, or at any other time of the year. But while David is happy to take risks on the fells, nothing short of complete safety is good enough when he's behind the wheel. He said, "I like to push my boundaries when I'm running. On the road I'm completely different. When I'm driving, keeping safe is my #1 priority. It's one of the main reasons I bought the Forester, with its 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating and clever eyesight driver assistance technology." What makes the Forester really stand out here for David is the eyesight system. This uses dual cameras to scan the road ahead for potential dangers, and helps to keep him safe by providing warnings and even collision avoidance assistance if it's needed. He said there have been times when he's been driving home after a long day of fell running and Eyesight's pre-collision braking system has alerted him to hazards that he was slow to pick out himself. It's even stepped in on the odd occasion to deliver braking assistance, helping him avoid a nasty incident. The lane departure warning and lane keep assist systems are excellent, ensuring his attention remains on the road, especially on long motorway journeys. But David didn't want a car focusing on safety at the expense of everything else. He takes a lot of confidence from its always-on symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which transmits power to all 4 wheels, all of the time. This ensures the car can cope with any terrain and all weather conditions, and makes it the perfect all-rounder in David's eyes. Adding to the rugged appeal is its impressive 220mm ground clearance, while its X-Mode technology takes command of the engine, gearbox and brakes to maintain a constant, controlled speed and maximum traction in challenging conditions. And hill descent control allows the car to take steep slopes in its stride. These features mean David can head far off the beaten track in the knowledge that he'll get safely back on the road again. So the Forester is the ultimate package for the outdoor lifestyle David leads. And he summed up why himself: super safe, incredibly practical and unbeatable off-road. The Subaru Forester suits me perfectly.
Utility support for electric vehicles in New Hampshire continues to inch forward with the announcement of a $3,000 rebate for Eversource customers if they buy a new Nissan Leaf, the biggest such incentive offered through a state power company. The payment will be made by Nissan, and won't affect other tax breaks and rebates available to electric vehicles. Martin Murray, spokesman for Eversource NH said, "It's all Nissan dollars. We're putting out the news. Our perspective is that the transformation to electric transportation, it's happening here in New Hampshire and elsewhere, as a way to move toward reduction of emissions in that sector. That's something we support." The incentive, which ends July 2nd, is also offered in Connecticut and Massachusetts, the other 2 New England states where Eversource operates. Eversource customers have to bring a bill with them to prove their status when buying the car. Similar promotions involving the Leaf have been offered to customers of a few utilities around the country, including Green Mountain Power in Vermont. Leaf is the world's best-selling electric car, although these days in the US, it lags Tesla models and the Chevy Bolt. The Leaf costs from $30,000 to $36,000, depending on the model. Eversource is not, however, the first utility to help support electric vehicles in the state. New Hampshire Electric Cooperative, which is unregulated and thus more flexible than the state's larger electric utilities, offers rebates of up to $1,000 for buying or leasing an electric vehicle, and $600 for a plug-in hybrid. NH Electric Cooperative also offers a $300 rebate for customers who buy and install a Level 2 charger, which refuels electric vehicles more quickly using a home's 220-volt circuit. More unusually, NHEC recently began offering lower electric rates for customers charging their cars at off-peak times, an incentive to prevent car charging from adding to the load when the grid is stressed during times of high usage, such as in the middle of a hot summer day. NHEC is the state's smallest utility, with 84,000 customers, and the number of customers who have taken advantage of the various electric car rebates is probably fewer than 100 at this point. This new boost, even if indirect, by the state's largest utility can help but raise the profile of electric vehicles. Power companies have an obvious reason to help sales of electric vehicles, particularly when overall electric usage in New Hampshire and much of the country is stagnant or declining slightly. But there are complications, both regulatory and technical. For the first half of the 20th century, it was common for utilities to sell electric appliances as a way to boost usage of electricity. For example, the City History Concurrence of Change says that the former Concord Electric had a store on Capitol Street selling everything from electric stoves and clothes dryers to lamps and toasters. This practice was often outlawed by regulators in the 1970s out of concern that ratepayers were covering retail losses, giving utilities an unfair advantage against other stores. This forced separation had made it difficult for utilities to directly subsidize electric vehicles, which partly explains the shortage of utilities partnering with car makers. The other problem is concern about the effect of electric vehicles on the power grid. If a neighborhood happened to have several electric cars that were all plugged in at roughly the same time, when their owners got home from work, it could overwhelm the local system, harming transformers or even substations. Avoiding that situation is the main reason NH Electric Cooperative is offering cheaper rates for off-peak charging. Murray said that adjusting the grid to deal with changing tastes in vehicles is not entirely different from what utilities have long had to do. He said, from time to time, a neighborhood or cluster changes demographically, to suddenly have 3 TVs instead of 1, 4 air conditioners instead of 2. Then we find it's necessary to replace the existing transformer with larger ones. We'll continue having to adapt as our customers adapt. As we see the electric vehicle, EV, usage increasing here and elsewhere, we can adapt and stay ahead so it doesn't affect customers. Massachusetts has been much more aggressive than New Hampshire in promoting electric vehicles as part of attempts to decarbonize the economy, that is, shift fuel-burning vehicles to those that use electricity, which can be made without releasing carbon into the atmosphere. As part of that, it is supporting the development of a number of public charging stations, which can add stress to the electric grid. Murray said, Massachusetts regulators have allowed Eversource to spend a portion of money from ratepayers toward bolstering the electric system network in those areas where charging stations are being built. Eversource won't build the chargers. New Hampshire plans to spend $4.6 million on public electric vehicle charging infrastructure, taken out of its $31 million settlement from the Volkswagen diesel emissions cheating scandal. Exactly what will be built, and where, has not been decided.